Could this be the end of Robert Mugabe's 30-year reign as Zimbabwe's president? Georgina Littlejohn, 7 hours Wednesday, November 15, 2017. Questions are being raised over whether Zimbabwe's President Mugabe is still in charge after he and his wife Grace were detained in a bloodless transition of power by the military on Tuesday night. Tanks and soldiers were seen on the streets of the capital Harare, blocking roads outside of Parliament, where there were also reports of explosions. How did the crisis begin? Tensions came to a head this week after Mr. Mugabe sacked his vice president Emmerson Mnangagwa and stripped him of his ZANU party membership for life for allegedly plotting against the government. It was also seen as a move to pave the way for Mrs. Mugabe to succeed her husband as president. Mr. Mnangagwa fled to South Africa after reportedly receiving threats against him and his family. Furious at Mr. Mugabe's decision, Zimbabwe's head of the military, General Constantino Chiwenga, challenged Mr. Mugabe over the sacking and threatened that the army could end the president's purge of opponents. Soldiers and tanks then took to the streets of Harare, blocking the roads outside of Parliament and the presidential residence. They then stormed the headquarters of national broadcasters EBC, and the Army's Chief of Staff Major General Sibusiso Moyo issued a statement claiming Mr. Mugabe and his family were safe. However, it was also reported that Mr. Mugabe's wife Grace fled to neighboring Namibia, although it is unclear how she managed to make her escape. Troops were seen on the streets of the capital Harare last night. If PGT is this a coup, the military have denied this is a coup as they haven't usurped his power, insisted they were only targeting criminals around the president. But Alex Magasa, a former advisor to Zimbabwean opposition leader Morgan Tsvangirai, the BBC, he believes this claim is untrue. He said they have decided not to call it a coup because they know that a coup does not sell, it will be condemned. But as far as authority is concerned, it seems very clear that President Mugabe is now just a president in name and authority is now residing in the military. Major General Sibusiso Moyo addressed the nation on ZBC last night. ZBC: where is Mugabe and is he still in power? The military have said he and his family are safe and their security is guaranteed. But there has been no further information or confirmation about the 93-year-old president's whereabouts, although there is speculation he is being held at his home. ZANU-PF's UK representative Nick Mangana told the BBC's Newsday programme that Mr. Mugabe is still in charge, but the ruling party, which has been divided over who should succeed the leader, was being realigned as a result of the army's action. Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe and his wife Grace have been detained by the military, who claim they are both safe. Getty: where is Mnangagwa now? Mr. Mnangagwa has reportedly returned from exile in South Africa, and his growing support from the army could see him taking over as the de facto head of government. Eddie Cross, an MP for the main Movement for Democratic Change opposition party, told BBC's Newsday that he believes Mr. Mnangagwa is the mastermind behind the move by the military. He was chairman of the Joint Operations Command, which is a military structure here that's been in existence since independence. Nothing like this could have happened without him. He's a brilliant operator and organizer, he said. I think very shortly we will hear that Mr. Mugabe has retired from political life and he's appointed Emmerson Mnangagwa as his successor. Emmerson Mnangagwa has reportedly returned to Zimbabwe from exile in South Africa as the situation in Harare dangerous. Reports have suggested the military are patrolling the streets and there is an uneasy calm in the area. Locals on social media say it is quiet, people are carrying on with their daily lives and there are very few cars around, but flights are arriving and departing as normal from the airport. An official, who asked not to be named because of his job, was quoted by The Guardian as saying citizens are excited because they are ready for change. They added, I don't think it will get violent because they are doing this for the people. If they start shedding blood, they can't do that anymore. That is why they told people to stay away from the center of town unless they have business, so troublemakers cannot stir things up. Residents in Harare carry on with their daily lives amid the ongoing crisis of PGT. What does this mean for British citizens in the country? The Foreign Office has urged all British nationals in Harare to remain in their homes and/or accommodation, and have also been told to keep away from any sort of political activity in case the authorities use force against any demonstrations. Labour's Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornberry has urged the UK government to continue to provide every assistance necessary to all British citizens. Amid the uncertainty of these ongoing events, three things are clear. First, a descent into violence, recrimination and reprisals from any direction must be avoided at all costs. Second, the continuation of authoritarian rule does not represent a sustainable way forward for Zimbabwe, no matter which faction ends up in control. And third, it must ultimately be for the Zimbabwean people to determine their own future government through free, peaceful and democratic elections, she said. In news http://sinews.co.uk